Companies have to think holistically about how they approach their content strategy. Our survey found that 2/3 of companies said their senior leadership was involved in their communication strategy and their content strategy. But that means, of course, that there are many senior leaders who still aren't a part of the conversation. As we look down the vertical chain, a lot of organizations told us that their employees throughout the organization weren't clear on what the content strategy was, weren't necessarily part of that conversation. And as you think horizontally across the organization, that there are many departments that aren't part of that internal conversation to develop that strategy. In my mind, if the content a company creates is going to help drive its business objectives and really reach its audience, it's going to take everybody throughout the enterprise coming together, contributing to, collaborating on, and being on the same page about the objectives of the content a company's creating. When companies think about the return on investment they're getting from their content strategy, I think it's really important to set aside the idea of return on investment from the concept we've started calling ROI. A lot of companies are so focused on what's easiest to measure that they're not thinking about how it actually maps back to their business objectives or the strategies that they need to have in place for the content they're creating. A return on investment might not necessarily translate into an easy number like the leads generated or the number of new followers you get or the number of views a piece of content gets. It may be focused instead on creating just the right sort of materials that your sales team needs to take out into the field to show your expertise and your passion on a subject if you're, for instance, a professional services company, or having material that shows the way your company thinks for your HR team to take out for recruiting purposes. I think having that discussion about why you're investing in the content you're creating in the first place is important for getting at what a return on that investment might look like, and not changing the way you structure your ROI to get at what's easiest to measure. I think it's also important for companies to think about negative ROI, which is to say you may create a strategy and measure success by something that's the easiest to measure, but in the process, if you're turning a lot of other potential customers off or potential employees off with the content that you create, you may generate the ROI you want, but at the same time be generating a lot of negative feelings or depleting your goodwill with other audiences who are turned off by that approach that you take.